gentlemen, boys and girls, to this June board meeting. It always sees me very pleased to see the boardroom kind of filled up, but can't ask for a standing room only. But thanks for coming. We've got a little bit on the agenda tonight, so just relax and enjoy the show. I always start out with kind of a moment of silence and just to kind of reflect on the past that we had. I think we had a great summer session. I think Michael's going to just talk about that later. And I'd like to see the teachers that are ended that are going to have a successful what's left of the summer. So 3, 4, 5 more weeks. And kind of just looking forward to what's going forward to the school system. I know we have a great year coming up, starting in August and all the way through the mid-December break, and then again in December 24th, year 24. So, just kind of while you're moment of silence, kind of reflect on them and all the things that happened in the past and then going in the future, not only towards the school system, but just in general. I know the world's kind of I won't say messed up, but it's hopefully going in the right future. So just take a moment of silence, and after that we'll go with the pledge. Thank you. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
I'm okay.
Sorry. We got an EMS in here, so we can. Please call roll.
Caruso.
Here.
Daniel.
Here.
Dryden.
Here.
Hartsfield.
Here.
Jacobs. Mabry.
Here.
Nidert. Rochelle. Weathers.
Here.
6 present.
6 out of 9. I do believe that is a quorum. So first on the agenda is a recognition program for Leoma Elementary, and I believe this will be Miss Burns. And before you get started, Miss Burns, I really appreciate all your dedication and all your outstanding work as principal over there. And you're going to be missed very, very greatly. So,
no, I'm going to miss it. It's definitely going to be an adjustment.
You are.
But I'm looking forward to the adjustment.
But I bet you will, right? So go ahead.
I am speaking on behalf tonight of some parents in my building, Elena's parents. This is Elena right here. And I want to just definitely tell you that on April 20th, there was definitely a higher power present at Leoma School. And that's the first credit I want to give, okay? But each year, Leoma School plans and practices for emergencies. Have to. But we kind of go, we do a lot of planning, we do a lot of practicing. We have what's called a code orange. Now how I came up with the orange part, I don't know. I was probably wearing a UT orange t-shirt that day and said, how about we call it code orange? But we have a code orange team that responds to medical emergencies, and that's what we practice, and that's who plans those emergencies. We practice and pray. We never have to implement that plan. But on Thursday, April 20th, that was the day we prayed never happens. At approximately 1:15 that afternoon, a code orange was called over the radio by Miss Nikki Hartsfield, one of our teachers here. Nikki's here. They were on the playground, STCAT testing week. They were outside a little bit that afternoon, and she called a code orange on the playground. Because we had testing going on, makeup testing going on that afternoon, we were not able to call anything over the intercom, which is our traditional procedure. But we do have handheld radios that all of my teachers, every grade level has to take out on the playground. So thank goodness that was there, right? Every grade level has one they take outside. And everyone on the medical team has a radio available. That was called at approximately 1:15 that afternoon. At that minute, our plan was activated. Our SRO, who happened to be in the front lobby at the time, had the thought, he grabbed the AED. We have two, thankful to Coordinated School Health, we have 2 AEDs in our school. He grabbed the AED while our nurse, Miss Darlene Surratt, who's sitting right back here, who had been back to our school for 1 month, and our assistant principal, Miss Christy Reedy, ran to the playground. Elena was found unresponsive at the back far corner of our playground. CPR was immediately begun by our school nurse, Miss Darlene and Miss Reedy. And our SRO, Clay Wilson, called dispatch at 1:17 that afternoon. The playground was not asked to happen, but our assistants heard that over the radio. They immediately jumped into a job. And they took all the students on the playground and got them off the playground and into the building and stayed with them so that the classroom teachers could stay out with us and Elena. Officer Wilson kept in constant contact. There was an open radio, I don't know what you call that, Kane, but an open radio with emergency personnel, and he kept them updated as to what was going on and then moved his car to Highway 43 with his flashers and lights so that they would know exactly where to turn in. Miss Carrie Weathers immediately got in her place so that she could further direct around the building to the back of the playground. Fire and Rescue showed up, Lawrence County EMS showed up, and the Sheriff's Department all showed up within just a matter of minutes. All this time, CPR is happening. Other members of the team were available who called, got help, did whatever they were asked to do at the time, and handed things. Everybody jumped into gear. The 7th and 8th grade teachers never left her side. Some of them are here today, and I'll introduce them in a minute. They never left her side. At 1:21, 4 minutes after 911 was called, an AED that we had at our school provided 2 shocks. According to the AED report, which I did not realize you can print out and emergency rooms can read, the AED report said that Elena was in ventricular fibrillation, which is a deadly cardiac rhythm. CPR is continuing. EMS arrived and Elena began breathing on her own and was regaining consciousness before they were able to leave with her in the ambulance. That was the longest 8 to 10 minutes of our lives. And I think every one of those staff would say so. It's almost as if time stood still. Our plan and our practicing allowed muscle memory to take over and adrenaline, because we weren't thinking, we were doing. The entire team instinctively came together to do what needed to be done for our girl. We were so thankful to see those ambulances show up, let me tell you, and let them take over. And they did their job. And this little girl is standing here today thanks to Coordinated School Health and us having those AEDs in these buildings. So I want to thank them. I want to encourage schools to practice a plan you pray never is implemented. Okay? We love you, sweetheart. Okay, Kane. I'll give it to you for just a few seconds.
All right. On behalf of the emergency services community here in Lawrence County, we just want to take the opportunity to say thank you to the school system and the partnership that we have with you guys being able to be in the school systems. We go in and have programs in the schools. And it is very important, just like Ms. Burns said, the time that we take to plan and practice the things that we hope never happen definitely make a difference in the days when it does. Since this has happened, I've been a part of other schools' emergency drills preparing for a day that we hope never comes again. But thank you so much for your efforts to ensure that we have AEDs in the schools. And those are not only beneficial to restart that heart, but just like she said, we can pull those reports and get that information to the doctors at Vanderbilt or whatever hospital they go to help them be able to diagnose what was going on in that specific minute. So Elena, we're so glad you're here with us today. And just like Ms. Burns said, I think it was a great effort from everyone. Everyone did exactly what they were supposed to do that day. And if it was not for what they did that day, I do not believe this young lady would be standing here with us today. So thank you.
If I could just recognize those specific staff members that assisted on that day, if I could. Miss Christy Reedy, Miss Darlene Surratt, Miss Patty Cruz, who, what Miss Patty was doing was getting the second AED in case the first one didn't work. We were prepared. That's what Miss Patty was doing at the time. Miss Jordan Holt, teacher, who was also calling emergency 911. Miss Alexis Shelton, teacher, who didn't leave her side. Miss Nikki Hartsfield, who put into place the code orange. Mr. Chris Simpson, one of her teachers that was right there beside her helping and pray. We were all praying. We were all praying. Don't miss anybody. I'm looking around the room. That's it. Mary, her mom, stand up. Gary, dad, and all the siblings. So we want to thank you again for making sure that those are in our buildings. Thank you. Can we get mom and dad and the family in the picture as well? Okay, why don't you come join us? You're part of this. Oh, absolutely, Miss Amy.
Okay, guys. Okay, everybody smile. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, y'all can go down. They don't have to stay, do they? I told them they could leave.
What a good, that's a great success story. Thank you very much. And if it was up to me, we adjourn on that because we can't go any better than that. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Burns. Moving on to item number 1, consent items. Can I get a motion to accept A through E?
Motion approved, A through E.
Second.
I have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 2, report items, personnel report. Mr. Atkins.
Mr. Chairman, we have 2 pages of personnel report right now. Our HR department has been extremely busy late spring until present day, and we still have several more hires to make and shifts to make, but hats off to the folks in HR department. As you know, we have 2 people who are managing this and a lot of turnover this time of year, new employees, people transferring, and they do a wonderful job. So all the information is in front of you.
Thank you. Any questions regarding personnel report? I believe that was in your email, and I'll look it over here. Moving on to B is Director's Update. Mr. Atkins.
Mr. Chairman, today was the last day of our summer school program. Appreciate the work of all of our employees who helped make that possible, teachers, support staff, transportation, cafeteria. There are a lot of hands that make that possible, and this will be the third year in a row that we've had this, and the success of it we're seeing in the classrooms, we're seeing with our students. Third grade retention wall, we've talked about this several times, but I do want to take a moment to recognize the great work of the Lawrence County School System, our teachers in those grades. Of the 142 districts in the state, Lawrence County was ranked 30th for total proficiency. That was a 46.29% success rate, with being in the top 30 in the state. Congratulations and hats off to those teachers, principals, all who made that possible. Just today, I learned that Loretta High School has been listed as one of the state dual credit highest pass rates for state dual credit psychology. So congratulations to Loretta High School. Also at this time, we have students participating in Skills USA National Championships in Atlanta, and we also have students participating in Beta Club Nationals, and we're hearing of success already from some of our sponsors there. Just want to remind the board that the county commission will meet June 30th at 5, and that will be for approval of the 23-24 budget. I'll keep the board posted as I learn more about that. As I like to say at the end of each of these reports, Lawrence County is blessed to have the men and women who work with our students each and every day, and thank them for giving me the opportunity to serve them and serve this board. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions regarding the Director's Update? Moving on to C, Executive Committees. We'll have two that will require Executive Committee approvals, and that will be the janitor's products for bid and fuel bid. And those will be in the updates as they get approved. We just want to let you know that's going to be coming up. Any questions regarding those? Very well. Moving on to D, we have an LCEA report. Go ahead.
I do have something that I need to read and let you know that LCEA has joined TEA and Knox County Education Association and Metropolitan Nashville Education Association in a lawsuit. I'm just going to read some of this to you. It's to challenge the constitutionality of Section 2 of the Public Charter number 437. It's basically, we're not contesting the raise. They are contesting the second portion of the bill, and I will explain to you why, which upends decades of law and practice to block professional educators from collecting voluntary membership dues by payroll deductions. So, in Section 2 of the Act, it violates the Tennessee Constitution in 3 ways. 1, the inclusion of the ban on payroll deduction of professional educators' dues payments with the Act's pay raise provision violates the single subject requirement of the Act. And 2, the Act's caption is constitutionally defective because it fails to express and thereby conceals the subject of Section 2's payroll deduction ban. And 3, the caption fails to disclose that the Act amends PECA and indeed necessarily repeals the PECA provision allowing dues deductions to be negotiated and included in binding MOUs between school districts and a professional teachers organization. So we just wanted to let you know that we have joined that lawsuit, and those are the reasons why. Do you have any questions?
Who's that lawsuit against?
Governor Bill Lee and the Sam Percy, which is the commissioner.
Any further questions? Thank you very much. Moving on to items E, Tennessee Legislative Network. I think Brenda's out today, and I don't think I have any updates on that. Does anybody else may have something regarding that? All right, moving on, very well. Any questions? Moving on to item 3, budget items for consideration. Under A, Summertown High School multi-purpose building bid. Mr. Jackson, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, this is a continuation of the work when we had the old gym at Summertown demolished due to safety concerns, and at that time, told the board that I felt like we needed to have an additional building put up there to assist the students, both the middle school students and the high school students, and this is our commitment to that school and community to provide another facility. As you look through this, you will see some drawings, kind of outlines the size of it and so forth. Mr. Tucker and I have met with Mr. Brown. We've met with Summertown Metals, and feel like this is a good sturdy building that will provide years of service and assist those 2 schools at Summertown.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We got a motion to approve and a second. Any questions?
I do have a question. Mr. Atkins, who will be project lead on this?
Mr. Tucker has been dealing with the company, working with Mr. Brown. He was involved with the discussions with the principal at that time. We will now continue those discussions, but it will be Mr. Tucker as the lead with consultation from Mr. Brown and others that we think are needed.
I'm sure if not already, we'll be getting with Mr. Porter and getting him up to speed on all this.
Any further questions? Please call roll.
Caruso,
Aye.
Daniel,
Yes.
Dryden,
Yes.
Hartsfield,
Yes.
Mabry,
Aye.
Weathers,
Yes.
6 yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to B, New Prospect Metal Building bid.
And this is from Dr. Jones, who's been wanting to add this building. There's no cost to the system. Dr. Jones has found dollars through her, some grants, some opportunities that came her way, and she has negotiated with Summertown Metals, and she has a plan to begin putting this on her campus as soon as we can.
Move we adopt. Second.
We got a motion to approve and a second. Are there any further questions? Please call roll.
Weathers,
Yes.
Mabry,
Aye.
Hartsfield,
Yes.
Dryden,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Caruso,
Yes.
6 yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to item C, CTE Greenhouse Kits bid for Kaufman. All those elementary schools there, you can see it. Mr. Atkins?
Mr. Chairman, this has been headed up by Mrs. Watson through, I believe, the Innovative School Grants, opportunity to provide greenhouses onto the campus of our middle schools. If you have questions, she's here to answer those questions and help you understand how that would look and how it would work.
Move we adopt.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Does anyone have any questions regarding these?
I do. Ms. Watson, does this put us with a, I'm sorry, does this put us with a greenhouse at all of our schools?
Every school has middle, but we are also looking at using some other funds later to make sure the elementaries that are not included. This is very close.
Now, is this coming out of the
Innovative grant.
innovative grant?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Please call roll.
Caruso,
Aye.
Daniel,
Yes.
Dryden,
Yes.
Hartsfield,
Yes.
Mabry,
Aye.
Weathers,
Yes.
6 yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to item 4, personnel items. Under A is differential pay plan. Mr. Atkins.
Mr. Chairman, this is the same plan that we presented last year. Last year, the board was generous enough to increase our cost for differentiated pay. As you look at this document, you will see that we have 61 people participating in this program. It's from mentoring new teachers. It's helping teachers with content development. It's helping early reading. A lot of good things that are happening with our differentiated pay plan. It was a recommendation from the faculty advisory that we kind of grow this and expand it. Some of our teachers were working with other new teachers, and we wanted to make sure we were recognizing them for their time.
Can I get a motion to approve?
Move we approve.
I got a motion, can I have a second?
Second.
We got a motion to approve and a second. Are there any questions? Please call roll.
Weathers,
Yes.
Mabry,
Aye.
Hartsfield,
Yes.
Dryden,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Caruso,
Yes.
6 yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to item 5, curriculum. Items for discussion. Under A is pre-K curriculum adoption and purchase.
Mr. Chairman, we budgeted for this curriculum, and when we presented that to you, Dr. Glass has provided a timeline as to how this process worked. We've consulted the teachers. We've adopted one of the text curriculums that was offered by the state, and as you can see, we estimate around $4,000 per classroom for 11 classrooms in Lawrence County.
Can I get a motion for
I move we approve that.
Got a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion to approve and a second. Do I have any questions for Ms. Glass? Please call roll.
Caruso,
Aye.
Daniel,
Yes.
Dryden,
Yes.
Hartsfield,
Yes.
Mabry, Weathers,
Yes.
6 yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to item 6, facility items for consideration. Under A is Summertown Elementary Sensory Playground.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mabry and his staff, when I became director in 2020, had a plan of producing this playground on their campus out of concern for some of the students who were not being able or benefiting from the PE type program, and Mr. Mabry and his staff have done an outstanding job of fundraising, working with community partners, and we have checked with legal about this. We have run it through some special ed. We've talked with audit, and we are now prepared to move forward, and there's about a 3-month delay or lead time on these materials, but we will present this tonight and be coming back with an executive committee approval later to speed this process up. But this is zero cost to the school system, except for later we will ask the board to help put a fence around this sensory playground for our students at Summertown. Mr. Mabry and his staff have done an outstanding job raising nearly $150,000 and then partnering with a community organization to finish this out.
I move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion to approve. I got a second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to B, request to build 2 structures at playground at Ingram South.
And Mr. Chairman, this is zero cost to the school system. This is just asking for your permission for us to add these to the campus to the appearance from the outside.
Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Got a
Second.
motion to approve and a second. Are there any questions?
I have a question,
Go ahead,
Mr.
Tom.
Chairman. Mr. Atkins, I read in your weekly updates, there was some discussion about the restrooms. Has that been squared away?
Well, it may be two separate issues here. We're dealing with one with Kiwanis Club and a grant for.
That's not this one.
I don't believe this is it. I believe this is Mrs. Marks and adding some structures on her campus. And she's here if we need to have her to speak to that, or Mr. Tucker, either one.
I mean,
These are just shade structures.
Okay.
They're separate issues.
thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Before I move on, do we have any other questions about any other facility in our system? at this time, all we got it on here.
I have a
Go ahead,
question,
John.
Mr. Chairman. How's the roofing project at LCHS?
You want to speak to it? Because it's been moving fairly well.
There was actually a meeting today, they have 3 more days on the roof. They were a little delayed this week because of some rain. And then they'll be moving into, they've already started work at David Crockett, like the roof screw replacement. As soon as they finish up here, that's 3 days of roofing work, then they have to come back and do gutters and some siding, metal work. But after they finish the actual roofing work, after the 3 days, they'll be going to New Prospect and Leona.
Did we have any equipment on that roof? HVACs, ventilation equipment, stuff like that?
Yes, and a lot of it had to be,
Lifted up, so all that got to be put back down?
we've been on top of that to make sure that it's all connected back appropriately.
Will we meet our timeline and have all the roofing projects
Oh,
done
yes,
before?
The roofing project will be done before school starts.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're already staging at the other 2 schools, New Prospect and Leoma.
And Mr. Chairman, I'll share with you, last board meeting, I had asked Mr. Atkins for an ESG, and I don't know if Mr. Jones got it together, whatever, but what he shared with me, I'll be happy to share with the rest of them, and it was very impressive, showing the savings to this system and what that ESG has done for us, so
Okay.
I commend Mr. Atkins. and
Yeah, please do, please
for
do.
doing that.
I've got a question on the Lawrence County. Now, in the bid, did they include cleanup and reconstruction of the grass that they're?
Yes, it
Okay,
is, yes.
okay, and all that material hanging over,
Yes.
that won't be there, correct?
No.
Okay, all right.
It's all trimmed up with new metal.
What about-
Downspouts.
Okay, good. What about damage to the parking lot? Because there's a lot. So
If they caused it, then we will have them come fix
you'll
it.
need to walk around because the dumpsters that they pick up and move is damaging that parking lot. Okay?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
one
go
last
ahead, John.
question on the bleacher project at LCHS that's underway. Is the timeline, I can't remember, will we have the new bleachers installed before school?
No.
No, the old bleachers have been removed, the bottom level. The new bleachers will not be installed
Yeah.
until late September, October,
Before basketball season,
before
right?
basketball. Volleyball season will go on in the gym, but they'll watch it from the upper deck.
Yeah.
Just a sacrifice we had to make.
Yeah.
Any other further questions? Very well. Moving on to 7 policy items. There's quite a few there. It's actually A through Z. I believe that's 26, according to my kindergarten. So we can go to each policy, or we can adopt them all in one. So do I have a motion to adopt all, or one at a time?
I move we adopt them as been recommended.
We got a motion to adopt A through Z. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We got a motion to adopt A through Z and a second. Are there any questions regarding any of these policies? Very well. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Moving on to item 8, food service items for consideration.
Mr. Chairman, these are positions submitted by Mrs. Simpson for additional staff. The cost is on food service, not the school system.
We have a motion to adopt.
Motion to approve.
We got a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Any questions? Very well, moving on to item 8. No, I'm sorry, item 9. Other items for consideration under A, school fees. Mr. Atkins.
Mr. Chairman, I believe the only school fee is student parking at the high schools, where they will set a fee for students to park, to issue a decal, and of course, that does tie back into student safety. The SROs can check vehicles and make sure that they are properly decaled to be on the campus.
Very well, do I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any questions regarding school fees?
What are those fees? How are those set, Mr. Atkins? From each principal, school to school?
Yes, sir. There's not a uniform set standard from the central office. It's based on the schools and how they set their prices. It could be $1, $5, $10. Some might be a little bit more expensive if they're closer to the school. So it's kind of that where everybody has a opportunity to buy a parking pass.
So do all of the high schools have them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what
Out of curiosity, and never would I dare question, but I'm just curious, how do they determine who gets what spot?
They typically will do a drawing.
A drawing,
And I think the last year, maybe Lawrence County High School just said all the spots were this price. But in the past, it's been a drawing and first come, first served, that sort of thing.
And what is the money used for?
It could be used for student supplies, teacher supplies, items that they might get throughout the year. It's various, and they use them for a lot of things. I know.
School general fund?
School general fund, yeah.
Any further questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to B, fall sports schedules.
Mr. Chairman, Mrs. Cope has received all the information before you from the athletic directors at each school. Of course, some of these are subject to change based on, delays, cancellations, what have you, but for the most part, every school that has a fall sport has submitted to her.
Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. And a second. Any questions? Very well. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to C, Athletic Cooperative Agreement Addition.
Mr. Chairman, we brought this before you a couple of months ago and stated that there may be some additional co-ops. And of course, just to refresh your memory on this, schools can co-op with another school that doesn't have the program, but there are some limitations of what TSSAA and the Tennessee Middle School Athletic Association will allow. Mrs. Cope has reviewed these, and they're all in compliance with those two organizations' rules and guidelines for schools to co-op.
Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Are there any questions for Michael or Ms. Cope? Very well. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item D, Lawrence County School System Strategic Plan.
Mr. Chairman, from our work session and the good work of Mrs. Ridgway and Dr. Glass and the steering committee, you recall the number of proposals in there, a couple of things that we're working on from the work session. Now we just need you to approve this so that we can implement it and begin the good work that's outlined in this plan.
Can I get a motion for the strategic plan?
Move we approve the plan.
We got a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions at this time? I do want to say, y'all and Mr. Atkins and the people behind us did an outstanding job. I've been on the board for quite a long time, and I haven't seen a strategic plan thought out as much as this is. So kudos to y'all, and very well planned out. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question on
Yes, sir.
this, or make a request? Mr. Atkins, we had talked, I still am interested in seeing the SWOT analysis that the team did when that becomes available, if you wouldn't mind sharing that.
Yep.
And then, curious on, and maybe it's something you can just update us in the weekly pass downs, but how do we get this from you and your team here to central office? How do we roll this down? Or what is the strategy to roll this out to the classrooms?
Mr. Ridgway?
So that comes through this drives our district plan, and then our district plan drives the school plan. So in essence, it's already kind of rolling. Our district plan was already approved, and then the school plans will be approved by September 1st. We'll have to have their first run through, and then their final approval by October.
So now, is it fair to say that the goal of the system is that all the way up and down the system, our employees know what the strategic goal is? And if, you know, if asked or approached and said, hey, what's the long-range goal, or what's the plan for Lawrence County school system, our employees would be able to answer?
They should,
Okay.
yes, sir. I think that is something we need to visit maybe on one of our admin days as a district-wide. But yes, they should be able to answer those questions.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Any questions regarding anything on the agenda that we missed, we need to fall back on? A reminder, the next meeting will be August. We will not have one in July. August 17th at 5 o'clock. And I believe that's the first meeting that we put out before we planned all of them. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So just August 17th is the first one in. Michael will update us on the remainder of the meetings throughout the year through June. Are there any other further questions? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.